Hey there, and welcome. So, you're a recent graduate in Bangladesh, you're holding that degree you worked so hard for, and you're thinking, okay, what's next? If that sounds like you, then you are in exactly the right place. We're about to cut through all the noise and really focus on what it takes to land that first great job. You feel like you've done everything you were supposed to do. You got the degree, you put in the long nights studying, but those job offers, they just aren't rolling in. And let me tell you, that is frustrating, it's confusing, and it can make you feel pretty discouraged for sure. But I really want you to hear this. You are not alone in feeling this way. It's an incredibly common struggle. And the good news? It's usually because we're all playing by an old set of rules that just don't work anymore. So let's start breaking down some of these big job hunting myths, one by one. Okay, first up, we've got to talk about the big one. The myth that's probably been passed down from your parents, maybe even your grandparents. This idea that your university degree is the single golden ticket to a great career. We've all heard this, right? This pressure that if you don't have a master's or even more qualifications after that, you can't even get your foot in the door for a good job. But is that what employers today are really thinking? Is that what they're looking for? Well, the reality on the ground has changed. A lot. Of course, your education is important, don't get me wrong, but companies are realizing that a degree on a piece of paper doesn't automatically mean someone can perform well in the real world. They're searching for, well, a different kind of proof. And here's the big shift in thinking you need to make. A university degree is awesome because it proves you know how to learn. It's your starting point. But practical skills, things like professional certifications, they prove you know how to do. And that's the game changer. It shows an employer you can step in and start creating value, like from day one. And look, this isn't just some vague idea. We see it in some of Bangladesh's fastest growing industries. Think about tech, ICT, or finance and accounting. In these fields, having a specific targeted diploma in, say, digital marketing or particular accounting software can make you way more attracted to an employer than a general master's degree. Why? Because it proves you have the exact practical skill they need right now. So here's the real takeaway for this first myth. It's not about just collecting certificates for your wall. It's about knowing your subject so well that you can actually apply it to solve a real problem. That capability, that's what gets you noticed. That's what gets you hired. All right, let's get into our second big myth. And this is the one that causes so much stress and anxiety for, well, almost every new graduate out there. You hear it all the time, don't you? From friends, on social media, maybe even at the dinner table. This idea that the job market is totally empty, that there are thousands of graduates all fighting for just a tiny handful of jobs. It feels hopeless. But I'm here to tell you that this story of job scarcity, it's one of the biggest misunderstandings of what's actually going on. The core of the problem isn't a lack of jobs, it's something else entirely. The real issue has a name. It's called the skills gap. Here's what that means. Companies are hiring. They literally have jobs open and they want to give them to people. But they can't find candidates who have these specific, hands-on, practical skills they need for those roles. So let's reframe this whole thing. It's not a job crisis. It's a skills crisis. And you know what? That's actually really good news for you. Because a lack of jobs is something you can't control. But a lack of skills? That's a problem you absolutely have the power to solve. It shifts the entire conversation from there's no hope to here's my opportunity. So, the big question is, how do you bridge that skills gap? We've busted the myths, which is great. Now, let's build your personal toolkit. Let's get into a clear, actionable plan you can start using today. Here it is, your 4-step roadmap. Step 1, do your homework. Find out what skills companies in your dream industry are actually looking for in their job posts. Step 2, get your hands dirty. Go find internships, freelance gigs, even personal projects to build those skills. 3, get certified. Earn those diplomas that prove you can do the work. And 4, and this is maybe the most important step of all, showcase what you've done. Look, just saying you have a skill on your CV isn't enough anymore. You have to prove it. So create a digital portfolio. If you're a coder, that's your GitHub. If you're a designer, it's Behance. It could even be a blog where you analyze things in your industry. And when you talk about your internship, don't just list your duties. Talk about your results. Instead of saying, I manage social media, say, I grew our page's engagement by 15% in 3 months. See the difference? That's showing real-world value. Okay, so we've got the tools, we've got the plan. Now it's time to pull it all together.
It's about changing your mindset. Stop thinking like a student waiting for a grade and start telling your story like a professional who can solve problems.
I want you to think about it like this. Your degree, that's the solid foundation of a house. It's absolutely essential. It proves you have potential and can handle complex ideas. But your practical skills, that's the actual house built on top of it. That's the structure an employer can see, and that's what they're looking to invest in. Your university education was an incredible, important chapter of your life. But it's just that, one chapter. The real power is in your hands now. The power to build on that amazing foundation and to start writing the next part of your story. A story that's defined not just by what you've learned, but by what you can do.